And now, marine weather around Alaska.
First up for marine, today's sea ice analysis. Continuing to thicken up here for the western Arctic coast, and the area out here over the Chukchi Sea continuing to expand as well, with heavier ice now from the west coast on back toward the Russian coast. Still a pretty good open area here to the north, and to a lesser extent here south of Cape Lisburne Point Hope here west of Kotzebue. And for the marine forecast for the south coast tomorrow, south to southeast winds 10 to 15 knots, east winds 15 to 20 knots for the north coast, and north at 10 for Lynn Canal, southeast winds 15 knots with 3 to 5 foot seas for Stevens Passage and Clarence Strait. And then for Tuesday, east winds 25 knots on the south coast, central coast, east at 20 knots, and northeast at 20 for the north coast. Lynn Canal, north at 20 knots. Stevens Passage, same thing, north at 20, southeast 20 for Clarence Strait. Prince William Sound, northeast wind 10 knots, seas 2 feet, about the same for northern Cook Inlet. Southern Cook Inlet, Kamishak Bay, though, small craft advisories northeast at 25 knots with 6 to 8 foot seas. And for the western North Gulf Coast and the Barren Islands, east to northeast winds at 20 knots. Eastern North Gulf Coast, east to northeast winds 15 to 20 knots. And then for Tuesday, north 15 for northern Cook Inlet, east winds 15 for Prince William Sound, eastern North Gulf Coast on average an east wind at 20 knots, northeast at 25 for the western coast. Gale warnings here for Kamishak Bay, east winds 35 knots, southern Cook Inlet northeast at 30 knots with 8 foot seas, east at 30 knots with 8 foot seas for the Barren Islands. Kodiak Island, northeast wind tomorrow 25 knots, east at 25 for Bristol Bay, and east winds 30 to 35 knots for the Alaska Peninsula. Outlook for Tuesday, Alaska Peninsula, lighter winds, east-southeast at 15 to 20 knots, east at 30 knots for Bristol Bay, and east-southeast winds 25 knots around Kodiak Island. Fox Islands tomorrow, south to southeast winds 20 to 25 knots, southwest to southeast for Adak and Atka at 15 knots, and then north to northeast winds 30 knots for the western Aleutians. And for Tuesday, western Aleutians, northwest winds 20 to 25 knots, central Aleutians north at 15, and for the Fox Islands, east to northeast winds 15 to 20 knots. And for the west coast here, for the Yukon Delta coast and Norton Sound, winds east at 20 knots. St. Lawrence Island northeast at 20, east 25 for the Kuskokwim Delta coast. Gale warnings for the Pribilofs, east winds 35 knots, east at 30 for St. Matthew Island. And for Tuesday, southwest coast, east winds 25 to 30 knots, east at 25 for the Pribilofs, east at 30 for St. Matthew Island. Norton Sound, east wind 25 knots. And for the central and eastern Beaufort Sea coast, west winds 5 to 15. Western Arctic coast here, east-northeast at 15, and the Chukchi Sea, east to northeast winds 10 to 15 knots. And then for Tuesday, Chukchi Sea, east to northeast winds 10 to 20 knots, east at 20 for the western Arctic coast. And for the central and eastern coast here, looking at a northeast wind at 10 to 15 knots.